Hi, I just wanted to say a few words about William Butler Yeats. Now, Yeats is obviously a modernist writer. He fits very solidly within that tradition, but he is a complicated author. A few things about Yeats. First of all, Yeats was Irish, specifically Anglo-Irish, which means he's Protestant, which puts him in, shall we say, a privileged position in Ireland at this time. Ireland, of course, is predominantly Catholic. So the Protestants who are there basically are more connected to England, if you will, and thus often have more privilege. But Yeats was particularly nationalistic in the sense of wanting Irish nationalism. He was very much connected to that cause, which involved, amongst other things, trying to free Ireland from the control of the English. It also involved things like trying to bring back Irish culture that had been lost over centuries, including, games, meaning sports, as well as the mythology of Ireland and other kind of artistic efforts. Theater was involved with that as well. One of the things that, how shall I say it, is a good in with Yeats is his love for Maud Gonne, whom he proposed to, I believe, about half a dozen times. She never said yes. But she was, in many ways, the great unrequited love of his life. She appears in some of his poetry, some of which is on our syllabus. Maud Gonne is also connected to Irish nationalism, but what she stands for in his poetry is in some ways, as I said, unrequited romantic love, but also a figure who is daunting, distant. So she figures prominently in some of his poetry as well. Yeats can be a complicated poet. He uses a lot of symbolism, some of which is Christian, some of which is Irish, Irish mythological symbolism, which again helps if we have footnotes, unless you're already deeply into that culture, right? As most of us are not. So it's nice. Remember that kind of detective work that I talked about in the modernism handout? Yeats is a clear example of that. Yeats is a poet who, quite honestly, in recent times has been quoted quite a bit, especially for the Second Coming, right? The feeling that the world is spinning out of control. Now, I use the word spinning on purpose because one of the images that is a recurring type of image in the poetry of William Butler Yeats is the gyre, kind of a circle. Think of it as a tornado in The Wizard of Oz, spinning, spinning, spinning. But it goes bigger and bigger and bigger circles the higher up you go, right? That's a key idea. Represents time and change, but not always in a positive way. In fact, one of the things about Yeats's poetry as a passage of time is in many ways not healing all wounds, right? Brings on new wounds and exacerbates old ones. So when we look at Yeats, we need to know a little bit of Christian mythology, classical mythology, Irish mythology. As I said, don't feel bad if you're not really well tuned with those, right? Your gentle editors of the Norton Anthology help you out. But that's something to keep in mind as you engage with the poetry of William Butler Yeats.